Turkey is calling for a major reorganization for international trade, stating that Turkey will move along with using local currencies to do trade in between Turkey, Russia, China, and Iran. As the US dollar strengthens, it becomes more difficult to do trade in between these countries as transactions become more expensive. As a result, nations, in particular China, have begun the process to rid themselves of the US dollar and its hegemony. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Let's talk about this today. Let's talk about the currency war that is taking place, not just in between Turkey and the US. Look at this because China has been so much at the forefront in this battle of currency wars. First, I want to talk about this article right here. It's very important. We just saw Italy's referendum, and now I want to look yet again at the Brexit issue. Britain's Supreme Court began a historic hearing to decide whether Parliament has to approve, check this out, that Parliament has to approve the government's Brexit negotiations in a highly charged case that could delay the country's EU exit. Wait a minute. What's happening? Let me get more into this before I give my opinion. For the first time ever, all 11 Supreme Court judges convened to hear a government challenge against the ruling that Theresa May must seek approval for starting the Brexit process. So, they need to invoke Article 50. What exactly does that entail? Are they allowed to? That's the question now, and the Supreme Court is now acting upon that. The High Court ruled last month that the government did not have the executive power alone to do this. What this means to me is that despite the fact that obviously people want to get out of the EU, it's very clear. You don't need to do this vote in order to know that. They put them in there in the first place, knowing nobody wanted to be in the EU. But here it is. They're going ahead and trying to reverse it. But even when they try to reverse it, they say, wait a second, do you even have the executive power to do so? They're going to try to squash this down. That is very worrisome at this time. Hopefully, we can push through this and Article 50 will eventually be invoked. Last world leader standing. The photo that shows just how much the world has changed in 2016. You can see the leaders there. Everything seems to be different except for one individual right in the center. Here she is. Isn't she so lovely? You're looking at Turkey now. Turkish president said his country was moving toward allowing trade with Russia, China, and Iran to be conducted in local currencies as he continues his efforts to strengthen the falling lira. If we buy something from them, we will use their money. If they buy something from us, they will use our currency. So this is no different than what's happening with the currency swaps between China and dozens of countries now. They're already undergoing negotiations, discussions with Moscow, Beijing, and Tehran on this issue. In fact, saying that the instructions have already gone to the central bank. So this is not just something that has been, discussed in the media, try to scare them and everything. This is actually going ahead as planned, no different, as I said, than what's happening with China. Also, he said, if you've got any of that foreign currency, the US dollar, the euros under your pillow, it's time now to convert that into Turkish currency so that they can go ahead and have the strength to do more of this. Don't keep the enemy's currency, essentially, is what they're saying. This right here, I see it all the time. I wanted to highlight it. it's an article talking about Trump, it's talking about the impact on your finances. At the end of it all, what does it say? Diversify your assets, okay? But if you're only in your 20s, you've still got a lot to ride this out. Don't even worry. Just keep putting money away in your retirement account. This is by far the worst strategy that can be done. You can see what's happening with people's retirement accounts today. They are being looted all around the world. And it will be a fact at some point. Country after country will have to admit that these accounts have been looted and there is nothing left. This is interesting here. Amazon unveils the quote self-driving brick and mortar convenience store. So basically you walk into the store, you scan your phone, and that's your entrance on the way in. You literally take things off the shelf, put them in your bag, and walk out of the store. There is no human interaction at all, even with a cashier. No robotics even needed in order to do a self-checkout. You literally take the product and you walk away. This here is the ultimate in automation, and it is of course just beta test at this time. But again, cashiers being a very important part of the workforce, and while they don't earn a lot, they are still in fact part of the workforce, and that is being taken away, and this is the beta test going on right now. This right here is from a Dutch basically an asylum center, and you can see the video if you're interested. It's chaos there. This is no different than what has happened in France recently, which I highlighted as well. There's no organization with this. There's nothing being done. It's just let the doors open and let it all happen. There needs to be some sort of plan taking place instead of just letting everything sort of attempt to meld together. It doesn't work like that. It is clearly not working at all. Republican success opens the door to amending the U.S. Constitution. I won't read you the article or anything from it. All I wanted to say was we have a very dangerous scenario happening here. There is always a balance of power that needs to take place. Of course, you have two sides of the same coin when they lie to us about Democrats and Republicans or liberals and conservatives. But anytime you have an opportunity to steal, this is those in control, an opportunity to steal from the liberties of the people, they do it. And I've seen that how many times before. This is very concerning about amending the Constitution. The Founding Fathers had a very, very good outlook on what the Constitution was supposed to look like, and that is basically to keep the government at bay. Not for the government to help us, not for the government to be there to support us in every which way. It is to keep the government at bay. That's the whole point of the U.S. Constitution, all of the Bill of Rights and everything else. It's to have that separation in between individuals and government, to keep the states powerful, not the federal government. These are things that I hope do not get abused. If you found this video informative, please give me a thumbs up. Of course, if you want more information, you'll definitely want to see my book, The Money GPS. It has diagrams, it has charts, it has all sorts of information that make it very easy to understand these complex subjects. If you want to look through it, head over to Amazon because they have a look inside feature that will allow you to flip through the pages of the book and see if you like it. Take care.